So undress that.
Big.
You're
it's
from
big.
Scottsdale, Arizona, right?
Yeah.
How was that growing up? You grew up mom, dad, or how was the childhood or dynamics in the family?
So my family split. So my mom and dad split when I was 9 years old.
Okay.
I grew up in Chino Hills, California. I was born in Chicago. I moved to Southern California when I was 2 until 10 years old, 9.5, 10. And when my parents split, it was interesting because at first it was kind of a drag. It was like a down, like I didn't have I was living with my mother, and we moved to Scottsdale, Arizona. The key was my uncle who helped us in that transition. He actually became a really important role in my life, and he became like a father figure to me. And we had a great run. Like, he's actually the one who got me into real estate. He was the developer. He got me into flying. Like, him and I were buds. We were best friends. He was a role model. He was really a key ingredient of why I am who I am today.
Is your dad not in your life anymore? Or?
No, my dad's still in my life.
Okay, good.
Yeah, he's still in my life. But we never had, I have so I'm the youngest of 3. And so my sister, my brother, and then me. My brother and him always, I felt anyway, they always had a stronger relationship. Okay. And when I transitioned from 10 years old to my uncle, him and I had a really, really strong bond because he always wanted a son. And so I didn't leave. I didn't say, "Hey, Dad, peace out. Forget about you." But it was just like a natural thing. Like when I saw how successful my uncle was, and how he was doing in building, I attracted to that. Like, I was like, okay, I've wanted to work since I was 13 years old. I talked people into giving me a job, bussing tables.
That's drive, man.
It really is, but it comes from.
You were the youngest, you said?
So the youngest of 3, and so I watched my
usually you get that
sister.
from the oldest, that drive.
Well, my sister, she's a true leader, right? But she's really smart. Like, my sister, things come really easy to her. For me, I was not the book guy. I was not the school guy. I actually dropped out in 11th grade. I ended up going back and graduating with my class. And I've got a college degree, and I've got all these, great things going for me. But there's been times in my life where I'm like, okay, I want to work. Like, I want to work. Like, I don't want to go to school and read about this and biology and da-da-da-da. Like, I want to get money. I want to get income. I want to get assets. Like, I just want to, I've always wanted to be super wealthy. So again, I could help more people. And I know people are like, "Oh my God, this is crazy!" Like da. That's really what drives me. Like,
so in 11th grade, when you picked to drop out,
yeah,
what was your goal at that moment? Like,
my goal was to go get a job at Jiffy Lube and become the best salesman and start earning. I think it was like $2,000 a month. It was like, or $3,000 a month.
Just build from there.
Yeah, post tax. Because I had a car, and I knew that if I started working, I can get money. Like, I wanted to buy my first house when I was 17 years old, which transitions into why I started flying. Because my uncle looked at me and he's like, "Son, you have no money."
Yeah.
I was like,
Jiffy Lube's not going to work.
Yeah, I was like, man, I want my first house. I want to rent rooms. I want to do this. Because we were rehabbing stuff back in 1992 when it wasn't even cool.
All right.
Like, we would.
So you were already thinking of like house hacking and stuff.
Well, because he showed me how to do it. My uncle was house hacking back in the early 90s. Like, we would buy, duplexes, and we buy houses, and he was building homes, and he was doing this. And so that's how I was able to achieve. He would always hang these carrots in front of me. And this is what Grant still does to me today. He's like, "How do I get you to this? How do I get you to a millionaire? How do I get you to 5 million? How do I get you to 10 million? How do I get you to 50?" And those carrots have always worked for me. Yeah. And so that's what my uncle did when I was a young guy. And
he's got to be so proud, man.
Well, he is.
Is he still here in live?
He's still here. We're not like buds anymore.
Oh, that's sad, but I mean, things happen.
Well, what happens in life is you start running at a fast enough pace where you really start to realize, who wants to run at the fast pace. If not everybody's running at a fast pace, that tempo. It's like when you go home for vacation and for holiday, you're like, okay, these paces are different. Sometimes you got to slow down just to kind of have a normal conversation at the dinner table.
Yeah.
Nobody. I hate it.
Yeah, he knows. We like to go.
Yeah. Most of us young, hungry entrepreneurs, we never want to slow down.
Yeah, and you got to get the right people on your bus to go with you.
Totally.
And create that energy. So that's 11th grade. So then you just went back and got your degree online and then went forward with that. Well, so your uncle got you into aviation?
Yeah. So I dropped out. God. I got a job. Yeah, no, aviation
right?
really
saved my life. That's a pivot right there.
Yeah, so aviation saved my life. And so I dropped out, and I met a girl, and she was in high school. She was a year younger than me. And she says, "Man," she's like, "you have so much potential." She's like, "You have, like, I see it." And that was like the first time that, anybody was telling me, like, "Man, I see something in you."
Yeah, especially the opposite sex,
cool.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This is like, we were high school sweethearts, and, she was amazing. She was beautiful. And And when she said that, I was like, man, what am I thinking? And so I called the teacher who was helping me out, which her name is Leslie Lassen. She's still in Arizona. We have a great relationship still today. And I called her. I said, what if I came back to school? Would you help me complete 2 years in one? And that became a game to me. And that's really where I hook in. I hook into games. And she's like, yeah, if you would work during school, I'll give you the extra courses that you missed in your junior year. If you complete all those, I will make sure that you graduate with your class. I walk with my class. I wasn't planning on going to college. I was 18 years old. My uncle said, hey, let's start going flying, because he bought an airplane. My uncle did, because he always wanted to be a commercial airline pilot. He never did. He got scared of flying. He took off one day, and he couldn't find the airport on the way back.
That's scary, man.
It's scary, right? But he bought an airplane, a little Cessna, and he said, hey, if you want to go flying with me, on the weekends, we can go grab hamburgers. And, so we'd fly from Mesa, Arizona to Payson.
You're like, hell yeah, I'm
well, at first I was like, yeah, let's do it. I was like, this is cool. It's a motor. I was racing. I was doing motocross. I was doing racing, and I was like, airplanes are fast. And so I started flying. It wasn't boring, but you have to really get grooved into flying and get good at it for it to be a real cool sport, right? So he was trying to help me and teach me and do all this stuff. And one day I looked at him. I said, man, I can get paid to do this. Like, I'm working at all these different jobs, like getting hired and fired and quitting and doing this because they weren't fulfilling. And he's like, yeah, you could actually get paid $125,000 or $150,000, once you build a little seniority flying airplanes. And he's like, by the way, you could fly jets. And once he said jets, I thought of flight attendants. And when I thought of flight attendants, I thought of girls. And when I thought of girls, I thought of fun. And so with those four things, I said, well, shit, sign me up.
I'm in. Yeah.
I'm in. And so from that day forward, I was so hooked that I was 18 years old, and I was like, I'm going to go all in. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to go to school. The school that I found, they said within 2 years, we'll get you prepped, ready to rock. You can go get hired at a regional, so that way you can get hired on at United. I did it. Everybody else was having fun, doing their games, doing all this stuff. I went to ground school. I flew. I went to ground school. I flew. I went to ground school. I flew. That's all I did.
So what did you? So you just find it's like $100,000, right, to go to flight school?
All in, it was $140,000.
140.
140
okay.
grand.
And you,
for the college education.
Your mom co-signed or something, or your uncle co-signed or something?
So interesting enough, my mom. Yeah. So my mom co-signed for me. My uncle was like, just take it slow, and do your private, and do your instrument, do your commercial. I was like, nope, I'm going for it. Yeah. I'm like, I'm all in. And so I co-signed. I got a loan for $100,000. And so I had an apartment that was literally right down the street from the airport. And I flew and did ground school twice a day. And within 2 years, I was ready to rock.
So you had no part-time job or anything while you were doing that?
Zero. It was the best thing. Yeah. It was one of the best cheats and things for me because I wasn't distracted. Like, people who think that they can do 2 things and 3 things, like you, especially that profession, like this school actually trained me to become a professional airline pilot. And so I was running the same checklist, and I was doing the same procedures, and I was doing the commands and the responses. Like aviation, there's so many acronyms and terminology and certain processes and procedures that they want you to follow. Like, in order to get hired on by an airlines, they want you to be that person. Like, they don't want to bring you in with a shitty record and no communication skills and all that stuff, because it just takes so long to get you spooled up. So by the age of 21, I was ready to rock. And I started interviewing for these airlines, and they were stacking them up, right? Boom, 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 boom. Some of them, I didn't get the job. And then some of them I did get the job. And so
the school was supplying you with opportunity after
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. But it was different back then. Like, the first year you made $50,000 or $60,000 if you were lucky, because they when you go to pilot training, they pay for your training, which is like $40,000. For your type rating to train in the first airplane I flew was a jet. It was a CRJ 700. It was 70 passengers. It had first class. It had economy, and we ran routes all over the U.S., Canada, and Mexico. And so that was the first jet. It was $40 million. I was 21 years old. Wow. I was feeling pretty good about myself. It was like one of those pinch me moments, and I took advantage of the opportunities. I worked my ass off. I flew. I almost had 10,000 hours by the time I hit 30 years old.
And is that the level, 10,000?
Well, I mean, 10,000 hours is for sure a level of professionalism, right? You read the book like Outliers and everything else. I mean, I think 10,000 hours is massive, especially when you think about it.
I didn't know that was like a threshold in flying or whatever.
Well, I mean,
doesn't matter. Right?
When some guys retire, they'll have like 20 hours or 20,000 and 30,000 hours, but that's at the age of 65 years old. By the age of 30 years old, I had 10,000 hours. I mean, I have more time on the start button, meaning starting the engines, than most people have in flying. Like that's all I did. All I did, and this goes back to the trend that I live even today. All I care about is growing the company, growing the business,
the growth mindset. Yeah,
mindset.
I hear everything you're saying. Yeah, absolutely. And that's what propels you and motivates you and inspires you and keeps you going
and puts you in place to actually take advantage of some of these opportunities that people are missing out on.
Yeah.
You know, most people are like, "Oh, you want me to do this? Okay, I'll do this." Instead of saying, "Oh, you want me to do this? What else can I do for you though?" Like, damn, you want me to go and run this deal, but do you have other deals? Like, can I run 10 deals? Like, most people's bandwidth just gets restricted by their own thinking. You know, I know that. Yeah, their own internal limitations that have been put on them. Like, oh my God, you're thinking about the weekends. You know, my thing on Friday is, damn, it's 2 days until Monday. It's 2 days until Monday. Let's go.